What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. This time we have something amazing going on, so if you guys have been following us since the inception of One Mind, we have been putting out Primarch lore throughout, and now we are finally to our last Primarch, the beloved son of the Emperor, the traitor, the cause of the Heresy. It is Horus Lupercal. So this guy has a whole bunch of lore, and we're going to dive right into all of it. So expect this series of videos to be about 3, maybe 4 parts. So stay subscribed so you can catch all the epicness that is Horus and his Luna Wolves. Now, this first part will deal with the pre-Heresy stuff. So it's basically Horus when he was still a good guy, loyal to the Emperor, and when he was still kicking butts and taking names for the Luna Wolves. So without further ado, here is 40 facts on Horus. But before we begin, this first picture that you see here is thanks to Josiah. He sent this picture in. It's pretty awesome. I like it. So let him know what you guys think about it. Also, if you don't want to wait for all of the history and lore, check out the lexicon and the wiki on Horus so you can get all that information to you as soon as possible. Or stay tuned for the next couple of days or week for sure. That way you can get all the information in video form. Now let's jump to it. Now Horus, just like all the other Primarchs, was created as a genetically engineered organism by the Emperor of Mankind in the Imperial Gene Laboratories under the Himalayan mountains on Terra. Horus, along with his brother Primarchs, were scattered across the Milky Way galaxy thanks to the ruinous powers of chaos. This is said to be when the Dark Gods first planted the seeds of heresy into the infant Primarch, whispering dark thoughts into his soul, and tempting him to their cause. The capsule that carried the young Horus came to rest on the mining world of Sithonia, a primary planet of the star system with a reasonable slower-than-light distance of Terra. Whereas the early history of many Primarchs is extensively, if unevenly documented, the same cannot be said of Horus. Contradiction and omission tarnishes all accounts of Horus's formative years. It is clear that the Emperor did find Horus, and also that he took command of the Legion early in the Great Crusade. Beyond these manifest facts, agreement between the early imperial sources is decidedly lacking, some even placing Horus on Sithonia as a founding. Like many of his brothers, these sources say that the young Primarch thrived in Sithonia's harsh environment. He learned his first lessons in war and killing from the Sithonian tech barbarian kill gangs. The world of Sithonia had been settled in the very earliest days of mankind's exploration of the stars, its rich natural resources ruthlessly being exploited until they were all but played out. So, Horus grew to maturity amongst the anarchic gangsters that populated the post-industrial nightmare of a world honeycombed with long-extinct mines and dominated by decaying hive cities. Some sources say that here was where the Emperor first found Horus, while other sources claim that Horus himself returned to Terra. It is said that Horus grew at the Emperor's side, learning from his father evenly as they took back the Sol System and forged the alliances between the techno-barbarian nations of Terra and that with the Mechanicus of Mars. Other highly credible claims state that the Emperor found Horus, the first of his lost sons, but neither source specifies where or the location of this finding. It is surrounded in millennia of myths and allegory. The truth of Horus's origins will more likely never be known. The Emperor spent much time with his protege, teaching and encouraging him. Horus was then soon placed in command of the Legion of Space Marines, which had already become known as the Luna Wolves, 10,000 Astartes created from his own genetic code. With these superhuman warriors to lead, Horus accompanied the Emperor for the first 30 standard years of the Great Crusade. Sithonia, which was relatively close to Terra, and whom some minor intermediate contact had been maintained even through the Age of Strife, had its murderous and strife-torn population marked by one of the first expeditionary fleets to save the Sol System. With its resources stripped, it had little strategic worth, and its people were judged largely beyond elimination, but the fledgling Imperium needed teeth, as well as ideals, and that necessity saved Sithonia. Its youth was harvested in the tens of thousands, first as impressed troopers for the Crusade armies, and then the finest specimens were taken for the Legion. On Luna, those chosen sons of Sithonia were reborn as warriors of the Luna Wolves. With these new recruits came a further accolade. The Emperor, in honor of their new birthplace, the ruthless propensities of the Sithonians, and the victories of the past, gave the Luna Wolves Legion a name to strike fear into his enemies. As they scattered to spill blood amongst the unclaimed stars, their enemy would come to know them as the Wolves of Luna. When at length the Emperor detected another of the Primarchs, and he departed to locate him, Horus was left ahead of his master's hosts, and he was entrusted with the command of the conquering armies, and Horus was well suited to the task. The lessons he had learned in the previous 3 decades served him well. As one by one the Primarchs were united with their Gene Father and their brothers, Horus came increasingly to be regarded as the greatest of their number, the first among equals. While happy that he would soon meet one of his brothers, Horus swore to himself that he would always remain the Emperor's favorite. The Luna Wolves waged war for 200 years, pushing back the darkness with fire and blood. Their victories were too manifold, and Horus's generalship was legend. And so it was that the respect for their brother legions rose to almost unrivaled heights. Horus was a natural leader, his greatest genius, his ability to meld seemingly divergent allies into a coherent whole. This skill was not only of use on the battlefield, for it carried over into contacts with the peoples of the Great Crusade. It was Horus's way to treat the population of newly contacted worlds according to their cultural traditions, and this became a highly successful doctrine, which was repeated in each of the imperial expeditionary fleets. Horus believed that to do so would lessen the hostile reaction of opponents who wished to parley. Tragically, it might also have been the cause of the Primarch's fall, and with them, fully half of the Space Marine legions. Horus's understanding of the human mind allowed him to bring out the best within his fellow Primarchs, which allowed him to deploy the various legions into the battlefield roles to which they were best suited for. He quickly learned of the skills displayed by the White Scars and Night Lords in deploying for rapid strikes, while the Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors were always placed at the forefront of planetary sieges. Horus was said to wield the Space Marine legions, and later the human soldiers of the Imperial Army, as a lesser general would position individual squads to perform to their advantages. He was also responsible for promoting competitive rivalries between certain Space Marine legions in the desire to spur these Astartes to greater heights. But these rivalries would eventually transform into outright hatred when the Great Crusade took a turn for the worse. After the defeat of a great Orc empire during the Ulanor Crusade, the Emperor considered this crusade to be Horus's greatest victory yet, and he saw fit to partially transfer control of the Great Crusade to Horus himself, raising him to the rank of War Master, the highest official beneath the Emperor, and granting him command over any and all Imperial forces, as well as rights and honors. This strained Horus's relationship with several Primarchs, most notably Angron, Perturabo, and Conrad Kurz, who felt either they deserved the title or simply didn't want to take orders from their brother. Lehman Russ and Lionel Johnson meanwhile openly accepted the decision, but were clearly embittered by it. Robut Gilliman, Jagtai Khan, and Ferrus Manus supported the decision because of their duty. But Fulgrim, Mortarion, Sanguinius, Logar, and Rogodorn all supported Horus's ascension to the point where they bowed their heads and meant it, and Horus grew closest to these battle brothers. You are like a sun, and together we have all but conquered the galaxy. Now the time has come for me to retire to Terra. My work as a soldier is done, and now passes to you, for I have great tasks to perform in my earthly sanctum. I name you War Master, and from this day forth all of my armies and generals shall take orders from you, as if the words came from mine own mouth. But words of caution I have for you, for your brother Primarchs are strong of will, of thought, and of action. Do not seek to change them, but use their particular strengths well. You have much work to do, for there are still many worlds to liberate, many peoples to rescue. My trust is with you. Hail Horus! Hail the War Master! And with the coronation of Horus, we have come to the end of the first part of Horus Lupercal's 40 Facts. Let me know what you guys think about this guy. Has he been a great War Master to this point? Also, let me know what you guys would have done differently if you were in Horus's position. Would you have accepted the coronation, or maybe given it to Sanguinius or Guilliman? Anyway guys, stay subscribed for more lore. As always, I am the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I am signing out.